Okay, hi. Today we're going to talk about the Aztec civilization and focus on political structure and society organization. First, we have this index that is Introduction to the Aztec civilization. Second, the political structure of the Aztecs. The third, the social hierarchy in Aztec society. Fourth, Aztec religion and its influence on society. 5. The fall of the Aztec Empire. And last but not least, the references and all the things that we use to do the presentation. So, we're going to start.
Aztec civilization was one of the most advanced Mesoamerican cultures, emerging around the 14th century, around the Spanish conquest in 1521. We know about them for the impressive architecture, their unique social structure, and complex political organization. Their capital city, Tenochtitlan, was built on an island that was named the Lake Texcoco, that we know in the present day like Mexico City. The Aztecs were an empire that controlled many territories across the central and the southern of Mexico. The society was too organized and had a hierarchical structure. My partners will talk about this in then, so they will explain it. About their economy was based on the agriculture. Finally, the Aztecs has a rich religious life. They had a lot of gods in their religious that represent a lot of things. For example, the moon, the sun, the night, the day, etc. And this part of the gods represent the or had a link to the political and social systems too.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the political structure. So I'm going to start. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the emperor that was Hue Tlatuani. That means great speaker, and he was the supreme ruler of the Aztec Empire. He has all the absolute power of political and religious matters. He was chosen of a group of noble families, or sometimes this position was hereditary. However, in some cases, the emperor could be chosen by councils or a priest of these Aztec communities. Um, I'm going to talk about the responsibilities of this emperor that was the military leader. So one that was one of the most important responsibilities and seeing all this system and making these important political decisions. And I'm going to mention one of the most important and famous emperors that was Montezuma II. That was an emperor that ruled at the time of the Spain arrivals and all these things. That was an important emperor because he like significantly expand all the empire at that time. Okay, so right now I'm going to talk about the Tecutli, or these high-ranking nobles council. This type of council includes generals, judges, and high-ranking officials or militaries in the Aztec community. They served as a local rulers overseeing all the cities and regions. At the same time, they manage all this agricultural production, these military forces, and the tributes and payments. All these people named end with Thicin and live in palaces surrounded by his families or people that was in this medium. Pili was the name of the sons of these noble people. They have this opportunity to be selected judges or ambassadors or high ranking officials only for being the sons of the nobles. We have in this group at the same time the judges judged, and there was people that the emperor pick and choose by herself. uh, have some rules like not be corrupt and alcoholic. It was a prohibition. And had this power to decide yes or no of all these as the community. Okay, so now for finishing this political structure, I'm going to talk about the Masewali, that was the commoners or citizens that working in this political structure. They were people that rise in government hierarchy, but through battle. They need to fight with another people, and the winner was the Masewali. At the same time, we have the Kapulek, that was the district chief and was elected for life by the emperor. They managed the agriculture and the paying of taxes. At the same time, we have the lower officials, that was people that supervise groups of 20 or 100 families for public works or cleaning or collection. And also, but not less, we have this Kalpixke, that was collectors and administrators of this type of communities. They distribute the grains and inform the emperor of the agriculture trade, all these type of things. And finally, the church and religions people, obviously in this government scale, that was the Tlenamakak, that was this high-ranking priest, and was the people that the emperor choose to dignate all this Aztec religious system.
So now we are going to start with social hierarchy. So in the next slide, I'm going to start with the noble class. Nobles were at the top of the hierarchical pyramid. They were, as they called them, pipitlins. They were the ruling class. This included the emperor, the military leaders, the priests, and the wealthy families. They have different roles. Nobles usually governed cities, they led the military campaigns, and performed religious rituals. The noble's status was hereditary, but individuals could also rise through military or political achievements. So, let's talk about commoners. The commoners were called Masehualtin. They were the common people of the Aztec society. They, they made up the majority of the population. They were mainly farmers, artisans, and traders. The majority of the commoners were involved in agriculture, growing crops such as corn, beans, squashes, and chilies. The artisans and traders um, always make goods like pottery, jewelry, and textiles. The other part of the people of the commoners were merchants. They traveled to trade with neighboring peoples and even distant regions. They were obligated to pay taxes, they have to tribute, but they also have some rights, including the land ownership and market participation. So now we are going to talk about slaves. The slaves were at the bottom of the social pyramid. They were often prisoners. They don't have political rights, but they could own property, or sometimes they were able to buy their own freedom. Some of the roles they had were included domestic servants, sometimes agriculture, or even sacrificial victims. This is very important because slaves were usually used for human sacrifices. Some slaves were chosen for religious sacrifices, which played an important role in Aztec religious life.
Okay, so now we're going to analyze the Aztec religion and its influence on the society. So first we have polytheism and religious practices. So the Aztecs believed in many gods, each with a special role in nature and life. So some of the most important were Huitzilopochtli, that was the god of the sun and war, Tlaloc, that was the god of the rain, and Quetzalcoatl, that was the god of wisdom and wind. And well, basically, these gods were central to their beliefs and daily life. Also, it's important to mention that the role of the priest were very important in the Aztec society because they led ceremonies, also performed sacrifices, and communicated with the gods. Also, they had like political power, so they could advise the emperor on important decisions. Now, one of the most well known aspects of Aztec religion was the practice of human sacrifice. So this was believed to be necessary to appease the gods and ensure the continued existence of the whole world. So yeah, human sacrifice was a core part of Aztec culture, shaping not only their religion but also their politics and military strategies, and could be performed because of many reasons, such as, for example, religious purpose. The Aztecs believed that sacrifice were necessary to appease the gods, as I was saying before, maintaining cosmic balance and ensuring the sun movement and agricultural success. And those sacrificial victims mostly were prisoners of war that was taken in battle or during a ritual that was called flower wars. And some volunteers and criminals were also sacrificed sometimes. Okay, so now I'm going to explain a little bit more information on about how they were doing in the rituals. So the ceremonies took place on top of massive temples like the Templo Bayorín Tenochtitlan, and in there priests used obsidian knives to remove the heart that was then offered to all the gods. Also, we even found out that bodies were sometimes thrown down the temple steps. Not in all the rituals practice, but it was supposed to be common. And finally, sacrifices serve as a display of power, reinforcing rulers' authority, intimidating enemies, and most importantly, maintaining control over the population. So it also had a great political and social influence.
Now we're going to talk about the fall of the Aztec Empire and we're going to analyze its causes. In 1519 started the Spanish conquest. It started when Hernán Cortés arrived to Mesoamerica. Despite of their weapons or the weapons of the Spanish, it wasn't the principal way in which they conquer the Aztec Empire. It was thanks to the diseases that they bring. For example, the smallpox that killed a lot of people of the Aztec Empire. Occurred the siege of Tenochtitlan. First, it takes a lot of months because the conquer starts in 1519, but the conquer of or the siege of Tenochtitlan finished in 1521. That was thanks, as I said, after not to the technology of the weapons, also it apports, but the first thing was the diseases. When Tenochtitlan fall, the Spanish take control over the zone and make it to be owned of the Spanish society. But some of the aspects of the Mexican culture were lost. But actually, there are some of those that are maintained in Mexico. For example, the Day of the Dead and all these things.
Thank you very much for watching. This was all of the Aztec civilization and her influence in a political structure and the social hierarchy that the Aztecs has. Thank you. Bye.